At Ohio University, students are facing challenges under Senate Bill 1, a new law that bans diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and limits how controversial topics are discussed in the classroom. While SB 1 may feel like a local issue for Ohio students, its roots echo larger, a national trend. Before the end of the summer, a second season of Shiny Happy People was released on Amazon Prime, this time focusing on the historical evangelical crisis referred to as teen mania. I reached out to Mica Ringo, former alumni of the Evangelical Honor Academy, a mania survivor, and a whistleblower who helped expose the former founders and the cruel teachings that many others were exposed to.
My experience when powerful white men are quoting God or are saying that their decisions are motivated by God, generally that God has the exact same concerns that they do.
That kind of mobilization mirrors the same ideological influences now shaping higher education in Ohio, where debates over religion and politics are no longer abstract, but directly tied to what students experience on campus.
Take their form, their very modern form of Christianity, which is only it literally existed less than 100 years, and make that the de facto norm that is enforced through violence.
Older forms of Christianity often emphasized tradition, liturgy, and community service. Faith was more closely tied to personal morality, charity, and denominational identity than to overt political mobilization. Modern beliefs are intertwined with the perspective from the late 20th century onward. They have been more activist and political. Movements like the moral majority and religious right linked faith directly to conservative political causes. Instead of just a personal or community practice, belief became a tool for mobilizing voters and influencing policy.
Because if we can't control you, we will destroy you. That's how the right wing and the evangelical Republicans, that's their worldview. That's how they think. So by tying our identity to their structure, their system, their organization, they've got all these free soldiers now who are going to go on the offensive for them anytime they're attacked, which is what they did. And of course,
while students here in Athens are navigating the immediate effects of SB 1, it's important to understand how religion has shaped politics across history. To put these debates into perspective, I turned to a friend from the past, Becca Malzer, a historian whose work in European political history and international affairs helps explain how these cause and effects go hand in hand with shaping a government.
Like religious influence on politics is, I guess, mainly you just look at the policies themselves, and see like who's endorsing them. With like the Christian nationalist movement in the US, looking at like the different groups that are lobbying in Congress for, or even state legislators for like different bills and like different parts of bills. So like
Malzer explains that once religious groups introduce these ideas, lawmakers aren't just debating policy, they're calculating political strategy. Sure. The question becomes which issues can mobilize the most voters and tip an election.
Like the youth vote. If you can win the youth vote, you could probably win the election. Like, just statistically, the demographic between 18 and 25 are generally, they vote the least. And if you can win them over, encourage them to get into politics and get into vote, then like you are more likely to win.
That strategy overlaps with what Ringo pointed out earlier, how messages are designed to reach younger generations, adapting to whatever medium they use most.
Kids, media, TV shows and audio shows and things like that. And okay, so they adapt it. So now they're on TikTok being trad wives, right? So it's always going to adapt to whatever the new communication style is. It's infinitely adaptable, but it doesn't change at all. It's still the same ideas of domination, suppression, oppression, exploitation, all of that. And so, yes, they will always adapt, and they're very smart. And we have got to be just as smart or smarter. And
to test those ideas against the reality on campus, I decided to seek answers from a fellow student. Scarberry, a student at Ohio University who studies literature and identifies as Catholic. She gave her opinion on how today's media environment directly shapes student perspectives.
100% social media influences what students think more than anything that they would ever see in the news or in the classroom. We spend most of our time on social media, like especially apps like TikTok, Instagram, and a lot of them have creators that profit a lot off of spreading like news, whether it be like actual newsworthy things or whether it be like misinformation, propaganda, fear mongering, all that kind of stuff. Very, very rampant on social media. So yeah, I would 100% say that students tend to get most of their facts and information from social media rather than news outlets.
For students at Ohio University, SB 1 is more than a policy on paper. It's part of a broader cultural shift, one where political strategy, religious influence, and media messaging convey. And while national debates may play out in Congress, the impacts of those decisions is felt right here on the bricks. Reporting for Beyond the Ballot, I'm Shaelyn Clark.